Okay, so let's talk about schooling baby horses or young off-track thoroughbred horses. So the most important thing you can do for your horse, whether it's an off-track thoroughbred or any young horse or horse overcoming a problem, is the best thing you can do for them is build their confidence. And so how do you build their confidence? You build their confidence by encouraging them, by being their cheerleader, but also by giving them boundaries and having consistent actions and consequences. So this is important, okay? They can't run buck wild, but you can't discourage them either, especially when they're learning something new and they're learning and you want them to be really confident with it in the outcome. Okay, so for instance, when I start teaching a young horse or a green horse to jump, we start with something very simple. And the only thing I really want from them is to get from one side to the other. If they get from one side to the other, they get all the praise in the world. Okay? Now, sometimes they might struggle with this. They might be scared of it. They might be unsure. They might go up. They might come back. And all I do in that instance is keep encouraging. Now, the most important thing you really need to figure out is where's their mindset, okay? Are they trying or are they telling you to go take a hike, okay? As long as they're there in the trying mindset, they're curious about something, they are looking at it, they're observing it, we're praising, we're encouraging. When they tell you to go take the hike, that's when you want to raise the external pressure. And what this does, and I use my voice for this, I'm not really interested in using a crop very much. I'll use my legs, but mostly I want to use my voice. And by you raising the external pressure, you want to raise it slightly above the pressure inside of them that's saying no. I'm hoping this makes sense to everybody, okay? So if the horse, let's just go on a scale of 1 to 5. If the horse is at a 5 on a no scale, you need to raise the external pressure to a 6, okay? And the horse will soon learn through classical conditioning if you are consistent with your action consequence. So if the horse goes towards the fence and backs up, and the backing up is the action, and the consequence is you raise your voice. I kind of use a sort of noise for them. Now, the important thing is your timing, okay? So as soon as they do the action that you create a consequence for, so in this circumstance, as soon as they start backing away, you start raising the pressure. Now, the important part is when they stop or move back forward, you release that pressure, okay? So you stop making noise. Or if you were using your leg, you stop using your leg. They will soon, through classical conditioning, realize if they move forward, there's less pressure and they're more comfortable. If they move backward, there's more pressure and they're less comfortable, okay? So the whole premise is to get the action that you want to be the most comfortable. This is going to help the horse build his mental tools and figure out how to make himself most comfortable, okay? And in this circumstance, the most comfortable you can create for him is when he goes from one side of the obstacle to the other. And of course, we start with something very physically easy, especially if this is mentally challenging for them, okay? Now, all that being said, let's take a horse that's a little bit more experienced, right? If the horse comes to the fence and stops, I'm actually okay with that. If it's stopping and you can sense mentally that they're unsure, they didn't feel that they were prepared, they didn't have the confidence to do it, okay? Those are all acceptable. What I don't like is the horse busting past it. That's more of a take a hike attitude, okay? So if they stop, what I will do is I will usually take the fence or have a ground person lower the fence to where I can step over it, all right? And in that, I kind of let the horse stop, let him breathe, reassure him that he is okay. Because remember, they're prey animals, okay? And so they're always in this freeze or flee or fight mode, all right? So if they're scared, we need to reassure that they're safe, because fear is going to equal death out in the wild, right? So we need to reassure they're safe. So in that moment, the horse stops. In that moment, I'm going to tell him that he's okay. I'm not going to reprimand him. Now remember, we're working with young green horses here, okay? There are other times for other techniques for different scenarios, but right now we're talking about a young green horse that's learning to jump, okay? And so in that moment, I'm going to reassure him that he's okay. I'm going to reassure his nervous system that he is safe. I'll get the ground person to lower the jump, and I will encourage him to get to the other side some way, somehow, without turning him away from the fence, because the object is to get from one side of the obstacle to the other side of the obstacle. Okay, when he gets over the other side of the obstacle, I will praise him. Again, classical conditioning. The horses are looking for reassurance. Horses are looking for praise. Horses really want to please us. The ones that don't want to please us usually have some sort of emotional or physical trauma that they've endured that says people aren't safe, and therefore if I'm with people or I'm doing as people want, I'm not safe. I'm not safe equals death. So in this scenario, I've lowered the fence. I've gotten the horse to the other side. Maybe it's just a pole on the ground. Maybe it's 2 or 3 poles on the ground. Get the horse to the other side. Continue around. Come and approach it the same way again. And leave it as it was. And hopefully this time the horse confidently goes across to the other side. Then I'll have my ground person slowly build that jump back up until the height that it was original. Okay? Each time when we get from one side to the other, there's a lot of praise. As long as that horse is in the trying mindset that I can feel, and this is the piece that the people need to work on. They need to tune in and listen. There's no need to whisper to your horses. Your horses hear you plenty. In all sorts of ways, not necessarily always verbally, but in our actions and our energies, we're always shouting at our poor horses. So they hear us. There's no need to whisper to them. But if we took the time and listen to them, listen to their thoughts, listen to their feelings, what are they trying to communicate with us? Okay, so really taking the time to tune into their feelings. All right, are they participating with us, or are they taking a hike and they're out of town? Okay, when they don't want to participate, we raise the pressure. Okay, that pressure is going to stay elevated above their mental tools so that they choose to start participating in some way with us to release the pressure. Again, back to the timing, right? So if the horse starts to get back on board with us and we don't release the pressure, that's going to become very confusing to the horse. Okay? If one action produces lots of different consequences, you're going to create an extremely insecure horse. Okay, insecure horses are not going to attach to you as their partner. When they're scared, they're not going to look for you for reassurance. That's what you want. You want the horse that looks to its rider for the reassurance when it's scared. That's what's forming the partnership. Again, this is why I don't train out of fear and aggressiveness. I don't want to make them scared of me to do the thing, because there's always going to be some time that something else is more scary than me. And when the horse is scared, he's not going to turn to the one that is the one that has frightened him in the past. He's going to turn to the one that has reassured him that he is safe in the past. So that is my job as the rider and trainer, to constantly reassure them and make sure that they feel safe, that the action is going to have the same consequence every time. Same action, same consequence. All right? And so as long as the horse stays in that trying mindset, we're in praising mode. Okay? And then timing and the impeccable timing as you raise pressure and lower pressure according to their actions. And it might go up and down like this. like up and down and up and down and up and down. You raise that pressure, but you're classically conditioning your horse. If you do action A, I raise the pressure. If you do action B, I lower the pressure. Okay, and that's the coolest thing, because working, especially because I work primarily with thoroughbreds, almost exclusively with thoroughbreds, and they're such intelligent horses, that they really figure this out quickly, and they really start to have this drive to want to do what you want them to do, this drive to figure it out. All right, so that's my little tip for today on schooling young green horses.